Thank you so much for sticking to Y254 TV. I hope you're having a lovely evening today. Welcome back to the Power Talk Show. I am your host, Cheryl Blessing, and we have amazing conversations on this platform. This evening, the conversation is no exception at all. So we've talked about everything from making money, finances, mental health, and we've figured out some of the basic things. But the one thing we've never really tackled is the degree, the academic skills that we are told you have to go to school, you have to pursue this, you have to do that for you to be successful. But we're living in a time, in an era where people with experience, people with skills are getting some of the jobs that people who are graduates and who have masters are unable to get. People are looking for 20 years of experience. They're looking for what skills do you have to offer. They're looking for what have you diversified in. And we want to know this evening, is the degree that we are told we have to pursue, is it something that's important anymore? Does it hold as much value as it did back in the day, or has the system shifted? So I want to hear from you as we have this conversation. Our conversation is, we're talking about the academic dilemma, degrees versus skills. So we want to weigh and see between the two, which one weighs more and which one makes better sense for the future that we're walking into. Joining me live on set are two gentlemen who are going to give us some insight on this conversation, and I'm so excited. We have Eric Waweru, who is an actor, and he studied engineering. Karibu, Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's such a pleasure. And right next to Eric, we have Iana, who is, he's been here a few times before. He is a media practitioner. Sindio, who ni co-host sasa. So, karibu tena, Iana.
Pleasure, always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to this conversation because I think it's something that we all talk about. It's something that we're curious about. Because mzazi anakuambia enda shule usome. Unafanya 4 years, unaenda kwa job market, unapata mtu wako employed with experience, with skills. Someone who doesn't even have the degree, the papers that you have, is getting some of the, they're getting some of the positions that we are pursuing. So I want to get into the core of it. Do we need to focus on the degree, or should we focus on the skills? So I want you to go to our platforms on social media at Y254 across all socials. Nimekuuliza swali enye I want to know what you think about. I want to know what you think. Is it, what do you value more, the degree or your skills? Between the two, which one are you favoring more? Are life skills more important than a degree? Do you need skills? Do you need experience? Or do you just need a degree? Do you just need to pursue your academic skills and leave everything else to the side? Let me know what you think. Are life skills more important than a degree? Go on our platforms at Y254. Remember, we're also streaming live on X, so be sure to follow us on X to just get the link in case uko kwa traffic, because there are people who maybe your friends are in traffic, they're trying to get home, they're not home yet, so let them know they can watch the entire session, the episode that we're doing today on our platform on X. So to kickstart the conversation, tuko na mtu wa engineering na kuna mtu ako na background ya media. So I just want to ask, Eric, you're an actor. I've introduced you as an actor. Do you apply the degree that you pursued, or did you take a completely different route?
So mine, it's very interesting because what I found about engineering is that it opens your mind. It enables you to think about things more critically because you are required to solve problems. That's the core of what being an engineer is. It's about problem solving. And you solve problems everywhere. You solve problems at home, you solve problems in the workplace, you solve problems everywhere you go. So I found that that part of engineering helps me in my life, and it has also helped me a bit professionally. But in terms of the core, like in terms of, I don't use calculus every day, or you know, si shinangi nimefanya calculations za current na voltage kila siku. Definitely I'm not in that line of work, but I found that engineering has helped me to a small extent. Pali haijanisaidia sana ni kupata kazi. But we can talk about that more as we continue.
We'll get into that. And I like that you've brought out that point, because imekusaidia si ati ulifanya to degree for the vibes.
Definitely.
It actually has added value to your life and your practice, your craft, and who you are today. Yeah.
I personally believe that there is no knowledge that is wasted. Every time you learn something, it will be of use and it will be of value to you. So I'm not the kind of person who can write off, ati I spent 5 years in school and it was a waste. No. I personally believe that that knowledge is going to help me somewhere and it was beneficial. So I choose to look at it from that point of view.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's about sasa the mindset and your perception.
Yeah, it's about your mindset and your perception.
Yeah.
And once you have the right mindset and perception, even though you won't end up working in that line that you studied for, you will be open to using that knowledge and to pursue opportunities that will be beneficial to you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's very well said. And now on to Ian. You're currently studying media. I believe you're going to graduate sometime this year, and that's so exciting. But through the course that you've done, you've interacted with people who are actively in the traditional media and digital media, new media. So is there a difference that you notice between people who've studied media and people who just practice it because they found themselves doing it? Do you think it's beneficial for you to go through the system and learn some skills and learn about some different concepts?
Well, they see that media is more about practicals more than the theoretical part of it. But when you look at the media space in the country, when you look at those who have actually done media or those who are conversant with media through academia and those who just found themselves in the space, maybe because of maybe they marveled at the thought of being in media because everyone wants to be on TV, everyone wants to be known, everyone wants to be on TikTok, and so on. There's a slight difference between those who have done academia and between those who've done who are just in it for the vibes. For example, you would not compare news anchors maybe in KBC to those who try and do news maybe on TikTok. There's some sort of decorum, there's some sort of way that the anchors in KBC do carry themselves rather than those who are on TikTok. There's that kind of disparity and it's easily noticeable. So for me, I feel like academia plays a major part in being in the media, in as much as the practical part of it is so important, but academia as well, it allows you to know a little bit of theoretical practices that you will apply practically rather than just taking a camera, shooting and packaging it. You don't even know how to package it. For case in point, an ad should run for only up to 45 to a minute. If you don't know that, you are going to do an ad for up to 5 minutes, not knowing that every minute more you pay. Without that theoretical guide or framework, you just can't operate in the media space as fluidly as others can.
That is true, because there's a difference when you understand the principles that govern different systems, even when it comes to maybe finance. If you know how financial systems work, it's very easy for you to assess and say, okay, this has the potential to grow, or this might crash in the next 5 years. But if you just do something blindly, you'll it's like driving with no direction. You won't really know where you're going. You're just there for the vibes. So there's definitely something that we get from the class. There's something that we get from the theory of it. But now let's look at the system. The system we have is focused heavily on theory, especially the 844 system that so many of us went through. Right now we have a different system. We have the CBC, which is a competency-based. And it's kind of different. It's focused more on the practical, although it still needs to be streamlined. But the system we went through, the majority of the people in Kenya, the 844 or the other different systems, ilikuwa theory. Ulikuwa ukram, kama uwezi kram, utadu. And it didn't start from high school or university. It started from primary school, where you had to learn. There were 7 subjects, I believe. We were doing 6 or 7.
5.
5.
Depending on the school
out of
you
500.
It was 5.
So 5 different, and then depending, the people who do sometimes 7 or something, depending on the different systems. But all these classes, it's out of 100. When I think about it, exams zilikuwa 50 questions. Na ukipatiwa homework, sijui kama bag zenyu zilikuwa ile yenye hata mzazi akiinua ni kama mmebeba mamawe. Yo, ile yenye umebeba textbook, sijui encyclopedia, uko na dictionary, uko na textbook tano.
Wacha hata nikwambie niko na trauma ya kubeba hiyo school bag.
I think mgongo ilianza kutuma huko.
That's when our back problems started.
We are not all guys.
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about that. We were forced to learn so many theoretical things. Does it add value? Is it a better system than what we are now experiencing with the kids who are being told, let's do this practically? Eric, do you feel like the system we went through, all the cramming and all the kupata tuma theory, ili tusaidia, ama should we have explored something else?
This is what I'll say. I'll say that I agree with everything that you have said, that it was about cramming. And I think the fundamental flaw with the 844 system was that it was based on passing the exam. That was the metric of success. Yeah. So hata ulikuwa unaambiwa ukiwa shule, you know, usipopita mtihani, you will be a failure in life. You won't go to a good high school, you won't go to a good university, you won't get a good job, you won't get married. Like, it's just on and on and on and on. So you are basically, it's drilled into your head from a very young age that you have to, for you to do well in life, you have to pass. And passing involves doing well in the exam, and for you to do well in the exam, you cram. So what has ended up happening is we have produced people who have learned to do exams and to take tests well. But you see, life is not like that. You go out here, you'll realize life is very different. And even when you go out there in the corporate world or in whatever professional space, you realize that you will actually need to know how to do your job. And I feel like that's where the previous education system has failed. We have given people knowledge. You know the three parts of an insect. Kuna the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. You know that. But lakini haujafunza mtu kubadilisha bulb. You know, when it blows out in the house. Haujafunza mtu kuweka token kwa nyumba. You know, those are things. And, you know, we take them for granted because we learn them at home. But I feel like children should learn these things, you know.
They should.
Cooking, cleaning the house, all these things. They are very important, you know. So I feel like the knowledge, it's good to have knowledge, but I think we should learn it in a way that it will be beneficial to us in our day-to-day lives. And I feel like that's where 844 ilianguka kidogo hapo.
Kuna kakitu
haikuenda vizuri. The math did not math somewhere.
I think because the whole point, this is what I got from it. Upass. Kama ujapass wewe ni failure.
Exactly.
Wazazi wote walikuwa number 1. Wote like
hakuna mzazi alianguka.
Hakuna mwenye alikuwa na. You know, one time I even asked my mom, kwani hata hakukuwa na number 3? Like all of you mlikuwa tu number 1. Nani alikuwa number last kwa hiyo class? Ama mlikuwa mnatai?
Labda alienda shule peke yako. So yake, so they were the only one. Make it make sense.
Unajua mimi nilikuwa number 1. And then it was all about becoming number 1. You know, kuwa tu number 1. Sometimes people weren't even looking at the marks. Because, you know, when you look at the mark difference, hapo ndio penye I think the details really are. When you even look at sports or other things. Kwa sports watakurank, alafu wataangalia marks zenyu. At least utaona umepata how many points. So that you know in the next season, you probably need to do this better or that. So, maybe when you number last, number 30, but uko na 390.
True.
Kwa shule yenyu. But sasa unakuwa gaslit. Because of that. And then the theory, it made people just cram. And we were trained to do exams. We were trained to pass tests.
Yes.
Mtu alikuwa anajua kuna test. Ni sawa. Tutapass.
They'll be jokers throughout the term, lakini the night before.
Tutapass. Afadhali ni cram. But now we have the change. With the CBC, it's watoi wanakuja wanatengeneza guitar. You know, they come and they tell you, Mom, I was told I have to cook, I have to do this. We have kids who are learning practical skills. They're being told, go and farm, go do this, take care of them. And identify farm animals. So, wanakuwa observant. But bado haijafika where it's supposed to be because we're just starting. When we look at nations, like right now we have China. we've seen videos on TikTok. I'm sure if you're on TikTok, you've seen videos about the production and the quality of the industries that they have. Lakini, unaweza ona kuna innovation. It's not just we are good at what we do and we've been good at it for 100 years. Kuna innovation because when we look at the Chinese schools, kids are from a very young age wanatengeneza hata bricks. Wanatengeneza, wanazikausha, wametengeneza ka fireplace, wanapika. You know, I look at those videos and I'm so fascinated. They were taught to do things practically. And we've seen the impact of that on how they are as functional human beings. Hii CBC, the one that we have, the system that we have today, in addition to that, because hata tusiache wazazi tu, tusiache walimu tu kazi. In addition to that, what can we do as future parents, as siblings who are older, as cousins who are watching? What can we do to encourage the younger kids to become a bit more practical? Instead of telling a kid, 1 + 1 ni 2, unamwambia shika hii mahindi moja ukiongeza na hii zinakuwa mahindi mbili. You know, how do we teach them practically these skills so that we nurture them kujua si about kusoma tu, lazima uapply kenye unasoma? What do you think?
The best thing about CBC is that it's made education more practical. In terms of right now, a kid will know if they want to delve into agriculture. And like 844, we thought all of us will be pilots. But here we are, here we are.
Tulipo madaktari.
Here we are.
Everyone was a lawyer.
Nilichangia kwa dissect.
We thought all of us would be
Case in
engineers.
point.
But here we are, here we are. You know, the good thing about CBC is that a kid will identify, or even you as a parent will identify where your kid is good at. Because there are some subjects that actually factor in tech and others that will factor in former subjects like chemistry, physics. A kid won't be good in those subjects, but will be good in tech. And thank God that right now they can even now start choosing their subjects from as early as in grade 9, second term. And they finally get to drop that mathematics. Oh mathematics. Oh mathematics.
But let me circle back to unaona venye I came to realize actually as an adult, kuna vitu zingine kusema ukweli mimi sijaitumia. Atuniambia sijui ati geography, sedentary rocks. It's never, I don't think it's ever going to apply in my life unless ninge maybe in building or something. But there are things that to date, math, kuna vitu nilikuwa najiuliza, zitanisaidia wapi? Right now, I apply those concepts. I'm like, compound interest. Higher purchase. I need to know, you know? Right now, it actually fascinates me because it's practical. But venye tunasema kuna skills atu kufunzwa. Tuliambiwa so many math, ndo ukwe number 1. Upate 98 ama 100. But hatukuambiwa soma math because you need to know how to, if you're running a business, you need to know income versus expenses. How do you balance your books? How do you balance your, maybe what's it called when you're getting requisitions or something? How do you know how much you've bought versus how much you need to make from that? How do you calculate your profit? The things that we weren't taught. Taxes. Kufile taxes paka sasa mimi naendanga YouTube. You know? So what can we do, Eric? What can be done? Is it because yes, perhaps in the unis we can incorporate that. Jukuna time. But at what age do you think it's very appropriate for us to have practical life skills that zitatusaidia? Like hivyo venye unasema kuchange bulb, kujua ukifua nguo na kitu ya blue, vitu za white itakuwa brighter. At what stage should we introduce lessons like that?
I personally believe they should be introduced as soon as possible. Of course, not all of them at once, but gradually. And I think this is where now the parents will come in. I feel like for the parents, they can involve their children more when it comes to the activities of the home, like managing the household, you know. Like, for example, you know, I know all of us grew up doing chores, and for many of us it was a burden, nobody enjoyed them. But they can also be a learning experience. You can make it a pleasant learning experience. Like for example, unaita Junior, unamwambia Junior, kuja wacha nikuonyeshe vile mtu anabadilisha taya ya gari. And you do it with them. Unamwambia shika Jake, fanya hivi, you know. So you teach them to do those things as a parent in the house. You teach your child, okay, we want to ukikula tunaoshanga vyombo. Let me show you how to do it. And then you actually do it with them. It will be an opportunity to bond with your child, of course, for the parent and the child to bond. And also the child is actually learning how to do these things. And they will reach a certain age where they'll be able to do it independently. And there's a way even engaging in those tasks even engages your mind, you know. So you become more comfortable with using your hands. You think more critically and more creatively on even how to solve problems as well. So my personal idea would be it can definitely start at home.
Yeah.
Then it was even before we get to, you know, streamlining the system in school, I feel like at home it would be very important to just involve your children in some of these activities that can become life skills for them to learn, you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because it definitely, unajua mzazi ndio akikuinvolve or when whoever the adult in the home,
Yeah.
when they involve you, the kids are naturally curious.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned is kids love working. Nikusaidie, mimi najua kupanguza, mimi najua kufanya nini.
They're
So-
usually very curious and they're
Yeah.
usually very interested
They're
in
very
what
interested.
you are
They're
doing.
so
Yeah.
excited to do it.
Yeah.
So if you decide to teach them and you're very intentional, they'll grow up and understand that.
Yeah.
But sasa unfortunately kuna wazazi wenye hata wako involved. Wejibambe. But they want you to turn out how they want. You know, they're those parents who let's talk about the men. Let's focus on the men because the women not all of them. Most women, most mothers are very maternal. Watachunga mtoto, watakuwa present.
Yeah.
Akitoka na kusaidia homework, upate baba, ye ni daktari. Time yake ako on the clock, you know, you're always busy. So you barely have time to hang out with your kid. But then you expect your kid to become a doctor. I want you to become a doctor like me.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't even think, maybe mtoto wako anakuwa traumatized because schedule yako iko busy sana. So ako like, nikuwa daktari ndo nisikuwa hata na spend time nyumbani. And we don't understand that kids observe and they absorb from that observation.
Yeah.
So maybe if you practically took them along with you, umwambe, hey, you know, as a doctor, I save people's lives. I do the rounds, unaenda unamuintroduce different things. It's easy for them. So there are people who don't do that, but they have expectations. I want my child to go and do this in the university and turn out like that because of maybe their dreams. So what would you advise someone who's experiencing that? Maybe mzazi wake alikuwa hivyo, anamwambia mimi nataka ukue hivi, but mzazi hakuwa hands on kujua what do you actually like. What would you tell them about what they should do about talking either to their parents or pursuing something they actually like instead of wasting time doing something else? Because there are people in the uni who are stuck doing a course that baba yao ndo aliwaambia
Yeah.
na roho yake haiko hapo na yeye na babake hata hawa hangout, so hata babake ajui anapenda nini.
True.
What would you encourage someone to do? Should it just do the coursework? Because kuna story ya Wahoo, apparently ali go through pure mathematics for the parents' sake.
Yeah.
Afterwards went and pursued music and she was very successful in that. So would you advise someone to still pursue what the parent has said because mzazi amesema, or should they talk to the parent and figure out a compromise of this is what I like, maybe I can do this instead of wasting my years doing this that you like?
I feel productivity in the labor market is actually a fruit of passion of what you're doing. For example, if you did media and you wanted to be a media practitioner, that means you're going to give it your all in the job market and wherever you're going to work. Case in point, it's in uni where you find engineers are in radio studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're very good at it. They're very
Very
good
true.
at it, even better than those who are actually doing media. Or you find a media student who's actually doing something IT-ish.
Yeah.
I guess you've ever come across these students, maybe, for example, in media, and they'll tell you like, hey, najua code, I can code HTML,
Yeah.
I can code Python, and all that. I don't know if there's Cobra. all that stuff. Though. I feel like you have to speak out because at the end of the day, you have to live your life.
Yeah.
You don't be a doctor just because your parents say that you'd be a doctor. After those 6 years, what next? You know, those are 6 years that are gone to that are wasted in your life.
Yeah.
What next? Don't throw your life away because of your parents' sake, because it comes to a point now you have to live your life. If I wanted to do media, but then my parents told me, no, you go do nursing, I don't think I'll be the best even in class. I don't think I'll put too much attention into my books. I'll be like, as long as I pass, you know, I don't
Just
need
do
that.
the bare minimum.
Just want to pass.
Ndio,
Yeah.
because you're doing it for someone else.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Because at the end of the day, yes, yes, your parents may want you to do a certain course or to pursue a certain career, and this is what helped me even to make the transition to what I'm doing right now. I sat down and I realized ni mimi ndo ninaenda shule. I'm the one who has to sit for those lectures. I'm the one who has to sit for those cuts. They are not helping me to do any of that.
But they expect
They really
excellence,
aren't. And
right?
yet they expect excellence. So just like you are saying, there comes a point where you have to take charge of your own life and you stand up for yourself and say, this is what I want to do. I feel like I would be very good at it. I am passionate about it. Please allow me to pursue.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe any reasonable parent would be willing to have that discussion with their children.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And I like that you've said passion is what will make you productive.
Yeah.
Because if you're not passionate, mi kama sipendi kenye nafanya, sintakuja tu hapa nikuwe like, yeah, tebu tuambie. You know? And it's, there's nothing that's backing up, even the research that goes into it, the time that you put into what you do. If you're not passionate about it, it's just a waste. So I want to hear from you as well as we continue with this conversation. Nimewauliza on our social media platforms, are life skills more important than a degree? Do you think it's more important for you to have life skills than for you to have a degree? We're having the conversation, so go to our platforms at Y254. Let us know what your experience is, what your thoughts are on this conversation. And that takes me on to the next thing, which people talk about. Kwenda shule si rahisi, si cheap.
True.
First of all, let's start from the expenses and the economy.
Yeah.
And then with the way some of them systems that have been set up for lending funds, zengine si flexible. You know, the people who, they come from a background where they have no choice. Enye umeitwa, kosa enye umeitwa, ndo unafaa kwenda kufanya. Yeah. I remember I was called to do, I think, history or something, to study history, ati ndo nikuwe nafunza history.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yo, nah. But there's someone out there, there's someone out there who, hiyo ndo choice yenye ako nayo. Hiyo choice ya kwanza, ndo ni hiyo. So if you don't have a backup plan, you may be forced to go through that system. So would you advise someone achukue opportunity yenye amepatiwa, or would you advise someone to take that time to find themselves? Because people take some time. Saying after akimaliza high school, ata take 1 year, 2 years to figure out what they want, what they're passionate about, what they actually are interested in. Then they can go back and study or invest in whatever. So would you advise someone to just take the opportunity yenye iko mbele yao, aseme indo iko, wacha nichukue cause siwezi jua what next? Or should you wait and figure out exactly what you want? What do you think, Eric?
Just like you've said, I think you should take time to explore and to figure out what you want to do, because I think all of us here have intuition and instinct. So you will always know whether it is wrong for you or whether it is right for you. You will always know. So I wouldn't advise someone to just take what is in front of them, even though the situation may be a bit difficult. What I would say is, where there is a will, there is a way. You know, you will always find a creative way to get to the dream that you are pursuing, which is where now the modern and the non-traditional ways of learning come in. You know, YouTube, you spend time online doing research, figuring out, okay, so how do I do this? How do I pursue this? Where can I go? Who can I turn to? If there are scholarships, how can I apply for a scholarship so that I can get the financial support that I need to be able to do what I want to do? I would say for someone like that, you know, just keep looking and keep trying, because it is possible. It's not impossible, even though it may be difficult for somebody. It is possible. Don't just settle, because at the end of the day, you might look at it a few years down the line and realize I made a wrong decision or a wrong choice, you know. So fight for your dream.
And you can't take back the time. And
you also cannot take back that time.
Yeah.
So just make sure that when you're going into it, you are 100% sure. And let me just say this, even in addition, I feel like after people finish high school, I don't know if anybody really knows at that young age what they really want to do. with their
Yeah.
lives. I don't know if anyone is equipped to make such a decision. And you know, usually ukimaliza form 4 unaambiwa na mzazi, okay, sasa umemaliza, umepata certificate yako ya form 4, sasa ni kuenda university. You're usually pushed to do it immediately. Yet you don't even know, okay, so what course do I do? What do I want? So you're looking for advice, and when they're giving you advice, they're not giving you advice based on you, what you want. It's based on their expectations and based on what they feel worked for them. So you end up for many people, they end up doing courses that if they could go back in time, they would have probably made decisions differently. Yeah, so I would encourage someone, just take your time and figure out what you want.
I like that because, you know, unfortunately, people jump into things because your parents or your friends, and I had that experience actually. Mina kwambia, I was just, God led me. Divine intervention iliingia. Ndio ikaniongoza kwa media. Because from where I started, at some point I even applied to actual science. And I sat for a class. Nakumbuka hiyo class yenye nilikalia. Week 1, day 1, algebra. Baba alianza tu kuintroduce. I was like, I'm not sure.
Wapi?
Nimepotea. Na niko first year ni wiki day 1. Hata si ati amesema fungueni vitabu tuandike. And introduced to ati what you should expect. I was like, Nama, I'm in the wrong place. Like I need to leave. Bye.
Yeah.
But fortunately, for me, circumstances led me to communication because what I wanted was different. But I also wanted communication. I just wasn't aware. Sikuwa najua put the words into what I wanted. Unaona? Because sometimes you have an idea. I want to do this. I like the skills. I have this and that. But you don't know how to put it into words. So when you have time, when you take time to do your research, uongeleshe watu, ujue, what do you do? You know, you'll find your interest. And it's very easy for you to find what you want. But now I want to circle back to, ni sawa, tumengojea. But sasa time pia inaendelea kusonga. Tuna get older. Can I really go back to class when I'm like 30 or 40? So let me read some of the comments we've shared and then I'll circle back with that as we also get deeper into what is the benefit of degrees and do we still need skills? Ama do we have to pick one or the other? So let me read some of the comments you've shared. Nimekuuliza, do you think life skills are more important than a degree? And we have from Facebook, we have Hakim, Brian, Brilliant Boy 254, amesema yes, for sure. Hata hizi TVETs zimesaidia sana. Ni ukweli, kwa sababu that teaches you some skills. And Deacon Otieno ametutumia hapo link ya, I'm not sure kama ni profile yake, but tutakufollow kama umesema tukufollow. Ni media industry, I believe. We will support you, so please go follow him. Abu Jesh Kenya amesema yes. Life skills are more important than a degree, according to him. We have Annie Gatwiri amesema, oh yeah, very important. Boni Kunati amesema ako in anatuwatch. David Gishuku amesema yes, it's for sure. Hashtag the Power Talk Show. And again to Hakim umesema yes, for sure. Ata TVETs zimesaidia sana. Do we have any more comments? Mark Poldowski amesema hello Cheryl, the show is amazing. Actually, connection imepiga degree na skills. Na ka unajulikana, job unapata haraka sana. Tuned from Chuka Ndagani. Napenda venye Maka ametuletea another perspective which we will talk about. And we have Sanja Rapa Trapper amesema Yashua, I prefer life skills 100% than a degree of any kind. I hadn't thought of this before now, but for now it's banging in my head. Thank you so much. At least we've given you a different perspective. Vincent Ogutu Ako locked in Asanti. Nick Msani is watching from Siaya. Thank you. And we have Vulen Dancelord with a skill, companies respect you. I don't know why I'm using companies, but that is it. And I like the perspective we've gotten because so many people think skills are more important than a degree. And I want to hear from you. In case of Janiambia, what you think. Do you think life skills are more important than a degree? Are they more important than you pursuing a degree? Should you pursue your life skills as opposed to you pursuing a degree? Or utafanya nini? Should we do both? Should we balance? Should we take the degree? Find out what we think about that when we come back from the break. I want us to take a very short break and we'll come back and figure out, can you still go back to uni when you're older and have how do you merge the two? Is it possible for you to have the two? Ama lazima tu ni moja, one or the other? Let's take a very short break. Stay tuned. We'll come back with so much more.
Y254 Imagine.